Dan and Amy, and before we talk the business climate in Illinois, let's talk about the great business benefactors we have in our listening audience that are supporting our golf outing this year, June 15th at Bolingbrook Golf Club, as it has been in past years. 2 shotgun time, 7:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the afternoon. And we want to thank the businesses that have participated to really aid our partner, which is the 100 Club of Chicago this year. The 100 Club of Chicago provides resources for families who have a spouse that has been killed in the line of duty as a police officer, as a firefighter, as a paramedic in Cook and Lake County, so Chicagoland area. The money stays locally. More than 260 families they've helped in their half a century in existence. $10 million worth of benefits, including providing educational assistance for the children of a fallen officer or first responder through college. And we want to thank businesses including Anion Blinds, Just Target Guns, American Financial Association, PCG Consulting, McPherson Public Affairs Group, Unique Repair Service, Tax-Free Retirement, Romar Transportation Systems, Condor Building, Armbrust Plumbing, Singular Sports Zone, Morrison Security, playing with Amy, the already declared the victor of the scramble. Yeah. Robex Truck and Auto, Integrity Partnership, Midwest Performance Cars, playing with me. Chicago Fiberglass Works, playing with Walsh. Topple Plumbing, Precision Payroll of America. Thank you very much for your philanthropy.
And we still have some slots open, but they're filling up quickly, some foursome slots. And here's what we want you to do. We want you to call this number. If you're a business owner, if you do the marketing or make the marketing decisions for your company, the number is 312-363-6680. That's 312-363-6680. And if you become a business benefactor, what we will give to you as a way of saying thank you for your donations, 25 60-second commercials. That's a $3,000 value for only $1,196. 312-363-6680. And these commercials will air prime time, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday right here on AM 560. But really, I mean, the need is great to raise money for the 100 Club of Chicago. Can you imagine if you had a firefighter or a police officer, sheriff's deputy who didn't come home from work? And there's a lot of emotions involved, of course, a lot of, money is involved too. Money is a factor. So the 100 Club, within 24 hours, somebody will go to their house and present them with a $15,000 check. No questions asked. More will be coming, but just so that you can make funeral arrangements, so that you could get by, so that you could survive, because you don't need to worry about money in a traumatic time like that. Right now, they're helping 20 Chicago area children receive educational assistance. 67 children in this state are eligible for future educational service assistance. So the need is great. We need your help. This is not a government program. This is people helping people, and we want your help. We need your help. So help us give to the 100 Club of Chicago by joining our golf outing on Thursday, June 15th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Again, operators are standing by to sign up your foursome, 312-363-6680.
All right, so turning to Illinois, legislation advanced by a state representative, Anna Moeller, out of Elgin.
Is this the antique moped?
No. That's
How's that one doing? Because I lost sleep over that.
That's Michelle Mussman's baby. She's a Democrat from Schaumburg. Ms. Moeller, representative Democrat from Elgin. The measure she has sponsored, this is, according to her, to close the pay gap between men and women. The measure would bar employers from asking job applicants for prior wage or salary history unless it's already public information or the applicant is moving within the company. Well, because then they'd know. Moeller, this would curb wage discrimination against women by ensuring an employer's salary offer isn't based on an unequal wage. You support that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Why don't we talk to a practitioner in the space? She is Dr. Amy Farmer Derick. She is her business, she's a dermatologist, is based in Elgin. Mm-hmm. She has 180 employees.
Wow, that's a big
Big operation, very successful. She has 150 of 180 employees who are women. Amy Derick, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, hi, Dan and Amy. this legislation is geared to solve the issue that women are historically underpaid, and then if a woman is required to disclose her salary history, she'll continue to get underpaid. But for someone like me, who is a strong supporter of women, who hires many women, who doesn't discriminate against women, it basically doesn't allow me the ability to ask, for business reasons, someone's previous salary or verify the salary that they say that they have. And there's legitimate business reasons to ask someone's previous history, regardless of gender, because it's important in negotiating someone's contract. If you're paying $50,000 to $70,000, that's a range of pay that you'd pay for a certain job, and someone's currently making $30,000, it's going to be a different discussion than someone who's currently making $70,000.
Well, I hope you're paying your male employees as much as you're paying your female employees.
Oh, yes. We're very worried about that.
Yeah, we the issue really is if women were doing equal work and being compensated less, there's really no reason to hire a man. I mean, there's
exactly.
right. So
exactly.
so in many regards, this is geared towards making sure that people aren't discriminated against. But in a practical sense, if you were going to discriminate against women, you would just offer them less later. So for people like me, for sure, who are not discriminating against women, it penalizes everyone because it makes it illegal for everyone to ask that question.
And just in case, I mean, this seems fairly straightforward, the explanation you just provided, the business reasons. But in case there are members of the General Assembly listening who don't understand these concepts or are choosing to ignore them, I mean, what's the impact if you were forced to live under this stricture, if this was signed into law? How would that impact your business operationally as you try and conceive this? When that conversation, when you can't have that conversation about salary history, so perhaps the salaries are artificially inflated, and perhaps that leads to different employment decisions.
Right. I think that it's just important in negotiation that you would know the person's what the person is leaving, because if you have that information, you're able to negotiate something that's mutually beneficial. And truthfully, if you didn't want to tell your future employer or the person you were interviewing with your current salary, you wouldn't have to. I mean, it's a freedom of information exchange between two consenting parties. And I would feel bad if, for example, I had someone move out of state into our state who was making, let's say the $70,000. If they were making 65 elsewhere and I was offering them 70, it would be a lot more pressure as an employer because that person's making such a sacrifice to move. And you would know that when you were negotiating with that person, and you would have better information to make a decision.
Just one state rep who's a friend of mine, she's Margaret McDermott. She's a Republican out of Mokina, and she worked for BP Amoco for 30 years as a corporate attorney. She said in response to this bill, I may be one of the few people in this assembly that's spent 30 years working for a large corporation. Yeah, I'd say so. In fact, one of the largest corporations in the world. That was my life, and I have to vote for this bill. I think about, with very great regret, how much more I would have retired with if we had some of the protections that our representative is fighting for here today. This is a Republican who's going, because I just want to make sure that this is, not a partisanship. This is a Republican who's going south on this. How do you reply to Representative McDermott, who was a corporate lawyer for a long time?
I can empathize with her situation. I think that the problem that I have is related to the fact that you're making it illegal to ask that question. If the representative had been undercompensated for a long time in her corporate job, I mean, there's always the opportunity to be employed elsewhere. And for me, who is, as I mentioned before, who is a strong proponent of employing females and compensating them well, it makes it assume almost in a paternalistic way that I'm going to discriminate. If I ask a salary question, it's only to discriminate against women. I mean, really, that has nothing to do with it. You're asking because you're negotiating a contract, not because you're trying to figure out how to pay women less. That's for sure.
Right.
So obviously you're frustrated that the government on a local level is trying to tell you how to do your job and how to hire people in the interview process.
Yeah, I mean, the interview rules have become very, very strict. You can't ask, for example, if someone's a felon, you can't ask pre-interview if someone's a felon because it apparently is racially discriminatory, which is very insulting, I think, to people of color because, I mean, it's crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
But for me, if someone is a felon, I obviously don't want to even interview them because I have a medical practice and wouldn't want to have a person who's a felon accessing sensitive information for my patients, or risk the fines associated with a breach, multi-million-dollar fines related to compromising patients' information. So the issue is that it's legal to, after an interview, then discriminate against them because they're a felon. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and part of the other legislators and other trade associations have weighed in too, and they suggest this may have something to do with the popularity of legislation like this among the trial bar, and this could be a boon for plaintiffs' attorneys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a very complicated issue, and I'm sure the person from Elgin, the rep, had intentions to protect the compensation of women. It's just there are some consequences of that type of regulation, which impacts actual business transactions between mutually consenting parties in the terms of a contract.
Well, and the other thing too, I mean, just the thinking this through is it comes from a perspective that business exists as private businesses like yours exist as jobs programs. Not service providers, which is what a business really is. It's a service provider. If you don't provide good services, you don't stay in business unless you're the government. And you try and maximize profit so you can, do things like, I don't know, pay your employees, expand your business, hire more people.
Crazy talk, Dan.
Is that? I mean, I mean, it seems to me, I don't know your perspective as a business owner. One who's expanding in Illinois, which is something we don't talk about a lot here because we don't run into people doing it, is the perspective that state government has, as Pat Quinn famously said, as people with the ability to pay, that you exist for the benefit of politicians who want to make a particular point rather than for your customers, your clients, and your employees.
So if you think about it this way, my business has evolved. We're open 7 to 7, 5 days a week. So if you work 3 days a week, 7 to 7, you are full-time with benefits. So my business, because it has been profitable and exists, has been able to support the livelihoods of many single mothers who can work 3 days a week, 7 to 7, and get full-time with benefits and be home 4 days a week. And so because our business is functional and profitable, we're able to expand into multiple different communities and take care of patients. We save lives. There's 322 people we found melanomas last year, which saves their lives. Of all there's 13 dermatologists in Chicago Magazine's top cancer doctors, and 5 of those people are in private practice, and 3 of those dermatologists are Derick dermatologists. And that's because I have focused on the quality of care that I provide to our patients, and I don't need to undercompensate people to be able to survive. I compensate people better than they receive elsewhere, and keep my employees happy. It's just that when you make a rule like this, you in order to regulate the bad players, you hurt the good players too, the people who are trying to make a difference. I'm from Illinois. I don't want to leave my parents live in the community, and I don't want to leave the state. But layers upon layers upon layers of regulation, it just makes it very hard to function in the state.
She is Amy Farmer Derick. She is a proprietor of a dermatology practice, a going concern, a very successful one in Illinois, based in Elgin. Amy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your time and insights.
Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen,